my words, like silent raindrops fell and echoed in the wells of silence. And the people bowed and prayed to the neon god they made. And the sign flashed out his warning, and the words that it was forming. In the signs and the words of the prophets are written on the subway walls and tenement halls, and whispered in the sound of silence. And in the naked light I saw 10,000 people leaving.
Good morning, Commissioners. Today I come here asking for your help, but first a little backstory. I think we all remember the Challenger explosion that took place in 1986 that tragically took the lives of all 7 astronauts on board. It launched not too far from where we're standing here today. Well, the interesting thing is, a couple decades later, this thing called the internet came about, and someone allegedly found almost all of those astronauts alive and well, many using the same exact names. As you can see here, we have Challenger astronaut Judith Resnick and also Judith Resnick, Yale law professor. Michael J. Smith, the pilot of the Challenger astronaut, and also professor at University of Wisconsin, now retired Michael J. Smith. Commander Dick Scobie, who is now president of Cows and Trees. Now, if you'll notice, they all have the exact same faces 30 some odd years later, the same exact name, and they are the same age. Now, we all have a doppelganger out there, right? No big deal. But to have the same face, the same age, and the same exact name is extremely rare. So rare, I could only find one case in the last 120 years. And we're supposed to believe that 3 people from one spaceflight have exact lookalikes that have the same age and same exact names. This, ladies and gentlemen, is beyond statistically impossible. Ms. Resnick was questioned at Yale by a journalist, and she panicked and ran from the camera. Why? Mr. Michael J. Smith was also questioned, and he said, yeah, we look alike, but that's not me. You can see both of these exchanges in a film called Level with Me, and you can be the judge. Mr.
Sir,
Scobie
I'm going to have to stop.
Sir, this is a public comment.
I know what it is, sir. I'm very familiar with the public comment.
Okay.
And part of the public comment is that you're only allowed to address things that we have jurisdiction over. We have no
I have a direct request at the end of this that is in your purview, sir, please. I do. Can we hold the time, please? I have a direct request that...
Listen to me.
Okay.
Very carefully. Mr. Richardson, would you give an opinion in regards to this, please?
Yes, public comment is reserved for issues or topics that are under the jurisdiction or control of the county commission or that are relevant to the business of the county commission. So if your request at the end is going to explain why that falls into any of this, make that request now before you continue.
Absolutely. So as I was saying, I'll just end it with what I was ending with. But the ask is that Ms. Pritchett, who knows very well about questioning science, whether it be COVID or fluoride, I'm just asking you all to question the science here. Your Goodson and Pritchett, your district covers the Kennedy Space Center. This launched from the Kennedy Space Center. You have the ability to help me in sounding the alarm and asking the federal government for help. If this is contained in your area, I should be able to at least address something that happened here. Don't you agree?
That's not within the jurisdiction or authority of the county commission.
Thank you very much.
Will you let me finish for at least 10 seconds?
No, sir, you're finished. Thank you.
Thank you for taking away my freedom of speech today in here.
I did not take away your freedom of speech.
Yes, you did.
I don't want to hear it from you people down here.
Just because this is an uncomfortable
Stop.
topic.
Officers, please remove this man from the room.
You just violated the First Amendment.
I didn't violate the First Amendment.
No, he didn't.
Violated the rules.
This is a limited public forum, and the meeting is for the purpose of the business of the county commission. It's not for this purpose.
Now,
Thank
if you want to go too, take him out too. Officer, take him out also.
Everyone just calm down. They can leave willingly.
Wow.
No, we're leaving willingly. You don't have to remove us.
You just made a decision about NASA. You're making your decisions based. All right. Well, you violated the First Amendment already.
Thank you very much for your opinion.
Yeah, maybe check reading it out again.
These astronauts are alive, by the way. Look it up. You can't have 3 doppelgangers. You can't. Same face, same name, same age. It's impossible. Look it up. Statistically impossible.
On Point Behavioral Center's right down the street. That's where I suggest you go.
Just because you think this is a mental problem, I should still be able to talk. It's your opinion, sir.
Have a nice day.
You too. Thank you.
again.
Yeah, y'all have a good one. All right, take care. Thanks. As I was saying, before I was rudely interrupted and my First Amendment was violated during a public comment period here in Brevard County, I was saying that Mr. Scobie is the most interesting because not only does he have the same age, same face, same name, same slanted eye in the cheek if you look very closely. Get this, he created a company called Cows and Trees, and the promo video has a cow blasting off strapped to a rocket, leaving a smoke trail eerily similar to that of the Challenger explosion. You couldn't make this up if you tried. That's why I today am calling on the Brevard County Commissioners to stand with me in demanding the Senate Subcommittee on Space Science open a new investigation into the Challenger explosion. Because if this is all one big coincidence, no big deal. But if it's true, people watch what they believe were 7 people blown up on live television, inflicting emotional and psychological trauma on millions of Americans. And we deserve to know why on earth something like that would be done. And like I was saying to Commissioner Pritchett and Commissioner Goodson, the only reason I'm back in here is because NASA ignored my last request and was completely unresponsive about the ISS discrepancies. I was blocked by their public affairs officer after one polite request. Commissioner Pritchett and Commissioner Goodson cover the area that contains the Kennedy Space Center. So I was just simply hoping that they would be able to help me in some way since it is their territory. I still thank them for their time, and I wish I was able to finish my speech, but we finished outside and that's good enough. I hope we can get some transparency with NASA one way or another.
On January 28, 1986, the world watched as NASA's Challenger space shuttle exploded shortly after liftoff. The world mourned the loss of the 7 astronauts who were on board. However, 20 years later, investigators would discover that the 7 crew members never actually boarded the shuttle that fateful day. Now I know what you're thinking. You're ready to call bullshit on this one, but let me stop you right here. The evidence that you are about to see will absolutely blow your mind. Sure, you've probably heard a dozen media outlets calling this a cooked-up conspiracy theory, but nothing could be further from the truth. Many people remember watching the explosion happen live on television, I myself being one of them. There is no doubt in my mind that the explosion was very real. In this video, we will examine footage from various sources that not only prove that 5 of the 7 Challenger crew members are alive and well today, but will also shed light on the possible reasons why they were not on board. 3 of the 5 astronauts, Judy Resnik, Richard Scobie, and Michael J. Smith. These 3 crew members were not only found to be alive, but they were still using their original names. You may be wondering, why wouldn't they change their names? And the answer is relatively simple. Their names were not too well known, and in 1986, living under the radar was much easier prior to the internet age. Is it possible that these 3 astronauts could have living doppelgangers that just so happen to have the same names? Not likely, and here's why. Although Michael J. Smith is a common name, the names of the other 2 astronauts, Judy Resnik and Richard Scobie, are exceptionally uncommon. For example, there are only 6 women currently living in the United States with the name Judy or Judith Resnik, and there are only 16 men named Richard, Rick, Rich, or Dick Scobie. What are the chances that all 3 of these astronauts would have living doppelgangers with the same names? I'll let you ponder on these odds for a moment. The other 2 astronauts, Ronald McNair and Ellison Onizuka, both supposedly have living twin brothers named Carl McNair and Claude Onizuka. However, no birth records could be found for either one of them. What's even more interesting is this. Let's take a look at this footage from then-President Ronald Reagan's memorial service for the Challenger crew. Here we can see the parents and siblings of Ellison Onizuka. But where is his living twin brother Claude? And here we can see the family of Ronald McNair, but his living twin brother Carl is nowhere to be seen. The reason Carl and Claude were not in attendance for their deceased brother's memorial is the same reason why there are no birth records for either of them. They do not exist. An investigator tracked down Challenger pilot Michael J. Smith and conducted a field interview, which he later posted on social media.
Is Challenger pilot Michael J. Smith alive and well? Take a look at the footage and let me know what you think. Hey there. Hey, sorry to bother you. I was pulling out and I saw you. I just came by to... Are you Michael Smith?
Yeah.
professor at university.
Retired.
Retired?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I just stopped by because there's this room. Are you aware of that? There's a rumor on the internet.
It's not me.
That people are saying.
Yeah, it's not me, obviously. I mean, anybody that looks at my background, looks where I was born, it's not me. I mean, it's interesting that the Michael J. Smith, that was the astronaut, looks something like me when we were younger, but really not, if you really look at facial recognition.
You never been a pilot, never been in the military?
Nothing like that.
Huh.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all.
And I don't respond to the emails I get. I get probably an email, maybe 2 a month.
Really?
And I got one guy that's been really hounding me, and I turned it over to the FBI.
Really?
You know, yeah. I mean, it's bullshit.
Okay.
You know, another crazy theory.
Okay.
But that's, you know, not me. I'm glad I wasn't him, but he was quite a guy.
Yeah.
You know, but if you look at my career, you look at my CV that's online, all the stuff I've published, all that I've done, it's not even close to what that guy was.
Okay. Yeah, you just sure look alike. It's the same name.
I know the facial thing, but that's what we looked like, what, 40 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Voice analysis of the living Judy Resnick compared to the Challenger astronaut Judy Resnick confirms that they are indeed the same person.
I am hoping that the affliction that Steve Hawley had from the 41D mission specialist of the delays hasn't rubbed off on me.
For a very long arm, which is as long as the cargo bay, it's 50 feet long.
The image lets you see all of the current contemporary issues. All courts shall be open, property remedy by due course of law. You can find these. The equal justice under law becomes that we thought courts were all along. It says equal justice under law.
There are many possible reasons why the crew did not board the Challenger that day. One theory is that the Challenger's final mission was deceptively unmanned due to limited funding and to maintain NASA's position as the world leader in space exploration. Clues uncovered in a documentary produced by National Geographic on the Challenger disaster seem to support this theory.
When Space Shuttle Challenger launches on a January morning in 1986, a key engineer is sure a catastrophe is coming.
We've got to stop the flight. We cannot let Challenger launch, period. This is insane.
He thinks the ship is going to explode. After 2 decades of budget cuts and a loss of public interest, the shuttle has never made good on its promise to provide a routine bus service to space. The 25th shuttle launch will be far more than just another trip into orbit. It's designed to resurrect the entire program. NASA hoped to restore faith in their billion-dollar baby.
And like Krista said, you know, Mom, she said that shuttle, they can shut that down the very last second if anything's wrong.
In the months following the disaster, Morton Thiokol paid the astronauts' families around $4.6 million, but were awarded a $1.8 billion contract to develop a new range of rocket boosters. NASA's Lawrence Malloy was offered a promotion to Deputy Director of All Propulsion Systems.
Now let me ask you this. If you were offered $4.7 million to pretend that your loved one was deceased, would you do it? Of course you would. I think you get the gist of what I'm saying here. Is Challenger astronaut Judy Resnick alive and well? Her living doppelganger namesake goes by the name Judith Resnick and is currently a Yale law professor. According to PolitiFact, in 1985, Professor Resnick was writing papers for law review journals, while the astronaut Resnick was on a space flight. And there is documentation showing law journals written by Professor Judy Resnick in 1982. However, law journals can easily be manipulated. Archived publications, on the other hand, cannot be artificially altered by anyone under any circumstances. Let's search the archived publications for the name Judith Resnick. The results show nothing prior to 1986. Next, we'll try searching for Professor Judith Resnick. And as you can see, no published results prior to 1987. Now we'll try Resnick, Yale Law. And again, the earliest result is 1987. There is no trace of a Judith Resnick, Yale Law professor prior to 1986. And to those of you calling this a bullshit conspiracy theory, stop blindly trusting fact checkers and do the research.